Early AI video generators excel at producing a stunning, isolated 5-second clip. But the moment you attempt to string those clips together into a cohesive, long-form narrative, the illusion shatters. The first major roadblock was time. Older generation models maxed out at incredibly short durations. When the entire output is capped at a few seconds, attempting to develop a scene with proper pacing or emotional arcs is entirely impossible. Alongside that temporal constraint was a strict referential limit. Previous models restricted creators to a maximum of 12 input reference assets. You could only feed the AI a tiny fraction of the data it actually needed to understand and maintain a specific visual style. Because these engines lack runtime and sufficient reference data, they cannot hold a continuous narrative line. The resulting outputs are trapped as impressive technical demonstrations, incapable of telling a consistent story. Even when those early models generated a compelling shot, they relied on a process called retroactive upscaling to reach a usable resolution. The initial generation was rendered at 720p and then artificially enlarged after the fact. As this low-resolution block expands, the algorithm doesn't render real detail. It's forced into a flashing process of guessing missing pixels. Because it guesses retroactively, these pixels warp and misalign, creating hallucinated textures and distorted geometry that instantly break immersion. As long as an AI is forced to guess visual details after the generation is already finished, the frame-by-frame consistency required for professional filmmaking remains out of reach. Seedance 2.5 was engineered specifically to break the continuity and data constraints that held previous models back. Looking at this timeline graphic, we can see the temporal fix in action. The generation window expands to a full 30 seconds. Crucially, this isn't a single, static camera locked in place. It is a sequence of changing shots, wide, medium, close-up, maintaining an unbroken narrative thread. Above that timeline, the data cap jumps from 12 to 50 distinct inputs per generation, drastically expanding the amount of context the model receives. By funneling this massive amount of multimodal data, images, video clips, and even 3D models directly into the prompt, the engine operates within strict guardrails. It is forced to adhere precisely to the director's specific aesthetic requirements. Combining 30-second multi-shot sequences with 50 strict reference points gives the AI the parameters it needs to generate continuous, strictly controlled cinematic continuity. But generating a continuous scene only works if the resolution holds up under scrutiny. This requires the fidelity fix pioneered in Seedance 2.0 and carried directly into 2.5, native 4K rendering. Rather than rendering at a low resolution and trying to upscale retroactively, native 4K architecture bakes the high-resolution details directly into the initial generation phase. The algorithm isn't guessing missing pixels. It is creating the exact pixels needed on the first pass. Look at the raw clarity in this extreme close-up. Because the detail is baked in, you can see the micro-textures on the metal and the precision of the shifting focus without a single hallucinated pixel or warped artifact. You need this raw, native fidelity to successfully execute complex lighting arrays, deep atmospheric shadows, and intricate surface textures. Native 4K provides the visual fidelity necessary for an audience to stop scanning the frame for AI mistakes and start watching a real film. Yet, perfect 30-second 4K generations sitting in a folder do not make a movie. Making the final leap to true cinema requires applied human editorial logic. This is where the assembly workflow inside CapCut PC becomes vital. Building the scene requires strategic duration planning to control the physical rhythm of the film. There are strict pacing rules for prompting. The 5-second generation option must be used exclusively for high-impact close-ups and fast reaction beats, where complex motion isn't needed. The 10-second generations are dialed in for slow environmental drifts and atmospheric corridor walks. Finally, you reserve the 15-second or longer generations for massive wide reveals and cinematic pullbacks. Dictating these specific generation lengths forces the AI to output exactly what the edit bay needs, moving the workflow from simple prompting to a targeted directorial process. When you place these separate clips next to each other on the timeline, you hit the final obstacle. Because they were generated individually, they lack a unified aesthetic tone. This side-by-side comparison shows how we fix it. Applying a master color grade, like this stark, cold blue, across all the assembled clips acts as the ultimate cinematic glue. It visually tricks the brain into perceiving one continuous film, rather than a collection of separate outputs. With these tools operating in sequence, a complete sci-fi short film can move from a blank canvas to a fully edited, color-graded final cut in under 90 minutes. By removing the previous limits on continuity and resolution, Seedance 2.5 moves AI past novelty and provides the exact control needed for emotionally resonant storytelling.